Hi, I recently watched the show Ye Ama the Qingsu with my son in Mandarin because they haven't released all the Teochew version yet. But I will go and watch the Teochew version uh, again one more time. It's a very factual, simple storyline about you know the early immigrants from China coming over to Southeast Asia to make a living and sending money back and all that. Okay, it's a very touching story, and of course, we we shed some tears in the theater, and at the same time, I come across a lot of Chinese from China criticizing reports written by the 新洲日报, I think, uh, that have I mean, some negative things to say about the show. I didn't read the Chinese report, but basically, what one passage says is that the writer reminds Singaporean that China is not your country, okay, and Singapore is your country. I find it quite disturbing that this question have to be asked. Okay, today you ask any Singaporean in Singapore, they will say that Singapore is my country and we are proud to be a Singaporean. Okay, in the early days, okay, yes, I believe when I was young and living in the village, when the older generation Chinese like my grandfather and my time, when they meet each other, they will always, when they during the conversation, they say, "Yeah, 不要紧，大概是中国人 and all that." And I also remember a story about the China basketball team playing with the Singapore team in the olden days. And when the China team score, everybody clap hand. Okay, I think our early batch of leaders, they have done a very good job because they that time I think Mr. Lee realized that we have to create a Singapore identity. I think they did a very, very good job in that. Today, everybody knows that, yeah, we are Singaporeans, and we are proud to be Singaporeans, and Singapore is our country. But that doesn't take away the fact that we are also Chinese, okay? And as the song sings, yeah, it's more 流着同样的血, yeah, we have Chinese blood flowing in our body. So I find it very disturbing that the reporter have to stress the fact and remind Singaporean that, oh, Singapore is our country and China is not our country. Why must that be put across? I think it's really a very unnecessary statement to make. Okay, yeah, my grandfather have sent all the money back to China, built a big house there, and he went back to China to die there, because that is, to him, that is his homeland. And yeah, and I'm Teochew. Okay, my grandfather is from Poland. Okay, then when my kids are young, I try to teach them to speak Teochew, because I think, yeah, that have got to do with our roots, our inheritance. But it never go. It only went as far as I always say, "大 Teochew where, 大 Teochew where," and then the conversation will goes back to English or Mandarin. And now my kids, the only Teochew word they know is Da Teochew where, Da Teochew where, you know. So why stir a hornet's nest over such a simple factual show that reminds us about how our grandparents struggle coming to here. Now you ask any Singaporean, they will know that Singapore is our country and we are proud to be Singaporean. Okay, but that doesn't mean that we are not Chinese. We are still Chinese and we still have Chinese blood running through our body. Okay, and I'm happy that we celebrate a lot of our Chinese custom and culture. Okay, my sister every year also bao ba zhang, and now my son wants to learn how to bao ba zhang also, and also want to learn how to make the Teochew kueh, so that yeah, they also realize that okay, things like that, if it is 被断根is something that is 很可惜很可怜的事啦 okay. Of course, the promote the Mandarin campaign and deleting out all the dialects, our former leaders have their own reason for it. There are many different school of thoughts, but it's already all over. It's in the past. There's no point arguing over who is right and who is wrong. And then of course it stirs a hornet nest, and then the China in Chinese say, oh, well, we close off the only Chinese university, we stop all the Chinese school education and all that. Yeah, okay, I'm not here to argue that whether it's a right or wrong policy, because it's already over. The social media also likes to compare the Chinese in Malaysia and the Chinese in Singapore, saying that okay, the Chinese in Malaysia preserve Chinese culture much better than the Singaporean Chinese. Yeah, that is a fact. I mean, and nobody can deny that. And I have stayed in Malaysia for about 6 years. Okay, they speak all kind of dialects, but their Mandarin are superb. For us in Singapore, okay, like my time, for me, I still speak dialect lah, because I'm okay, but the younger generation, we cut away dialect, we stress only Mandarin, but I don't find that our Mandarin standard is any higher than the Malaysian Chinese. They speak much better Mandarin together with all the dialects. The only thing I can say, my opinion, is that our English, our spoken English and maybe written English are much better than them. I'm really very disturbed by these few reports from the Sing-Tao Power that creates so much dissatisfaction and debate, unnecessary debates over the issues of China is not our country. China is a country, it's not our country. Any Singaporean now knows that Singapore is our country and we are proud to be a Singaporean. I hope before any people of authority, whether newspaper or editor or people in power, want to make any statement, do think a bit before. Yeah, it's not necessary to stir up the hornet's nest over something that's so trivial and so meaningful and part of his history. Thank you very much for listening in.